it seems, are filing for bankruptcy. Nearly 500,000 in 2023. That's about 65,000 more filings than just the year before.
That's right. The leading cause of bankruptcy is medical debt. And that is why the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau wants to ban medical debt from even appearing on your credit report.
Yes, the federal agency says you shouldn't be punished for getting sick. Roughly 1 in 5 people has medical debt in the U.S., worth about $49 billion. Joining us now is financial expert Ted Jenkin. Ted, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Fanchon.
Good morning. Okay, these numbers are staggering.
Staggering.
How is this happening?
My goodness.
Yeah, as you mentioned, roughly 1 out of 5 people in the United States have medical debt, and there are really 2 main causes behind this. Quite frankly, 61% of Americans right now are living paycheck to paycheck, and our medical system isn't free. You've got co-pays, you've got deductibles, and potentially other out-of-pocket expenses. But, you know, we've all received that medical bill or hospital bill in the mail, and it just didn't seem quite right. And often these medical bills have mistakes or they have inaccuracies on those bills. And a lot of people don't have the will or the skill or the legal power to fight it. So this creates that medical debt that a lot of families are struggling with, and why this proposal is on the plate right now to eventually not have that affect your credit score.
You know, it's actually disconcerting that this is happening in the United States of America. You know, how would this proposal, you just mentioned it's going to help people. Who will this proposal affect specifically, and who would benefit the most?
You know, Fanchon, I think that lower and middle income class families in America will benefit the most, because people need to remember that your credit score affects 2 major things. Number one, whether or not you can get a loan, an auto loan or a mortgage loan, and it's going to affect your interest rate. And those interest rates are dictated on 20-point bands on your FICO score. So here's an example. If you have a 675 credit score and you're applying for an auto loan, your rate might be 6.5%. Right. If you have a 575 credit score, your interest rate might be 11%. It's just that dramatic, and it could be a 1% differential on your mortgage. So a lot of families that struggle to get access to credit and get a better interest rate, those families will be affected in a positive way if this proposal goes through.
That would be super helpful. So, Ted, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reports that about 1 million consumer complaints are out there about junk data on credit reports. Can you elaborate? What is junk data, and how do we get it out of there?
Yeah, you know, Dominique, this is really either inconsistent information or just information that's simply impossible. One example of inconsistent information is that you know that you paid off your credit card bill. It's completely paid off, but yet a balance shows up on your credit report. What's impossible information is when the date of delinquency predates an event, like when you open up the credit card, or even some debt is on people's credit scores before they were born. It's just simply impossible. So your best bet is to do exactly that. File a complaint with the Consumer Federal Protection Bureau, or go to the credit agencies and file a complaint. But that's just ridiculous. The debt's on your record before you were born. It just doesn't make sense.
That's crazy.
No, doesn't make sense at all. I want to talk about the people who already have medical debt right now, who may be listening to this conversation. Will this proposal help wipe away medical debt you already owe?
I mean, unfortunately, Fanchon, it's not going to wipe away that debt at all. You're going to still owe that debt no matter what the bill is today. And the likelihood is these scavenger debt collectors that are out there are going to continue to call your phone asking for the debt. What this is really all about is making sure this information that's reported to the credit scoring agencies does not count against you. Number one, for access to debt. And number two, the interest rate potentially on your debt. That's what it's going to affect as of today.
And Ted, is there worry that some people will stop paying their debts? I mean, a lot of people are really more concerned getting rent paid or food on the table. So what happens there?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look what happened with student loans here. There are a lot of people today, some $170 billion that are wiped away, that say, I'm not responsible for those student loans. So, of course, some people may say, look, the government's going to bail me out. The problem with that is what's next. We're $1.1 trillion in credit card debt. Are people going to say, I didn't buy all that stuff on Amazon. Amazon made me do it and spend money on the credit card. And then eventually, where does it end? So I think people need to know you got to be obligated for your debt, but we need to make sure people have fair access to credit.
Before it gets to that point, is there a way people can negotiate? How can they do that? And is there a way to lower medical debt?
Well, look, there's always negotiation. Remember, 100 times 0 is 0. So all of these people that are collecting debt, whether it's your credit card company or medical debt, they don't want you to pay nothing. That doesn't help their income statement or their balance sheet. So you always have the ability to negotiate, try to say, what can I afford today, even if it's a small payment and something that may be able to positively affect your credit score until this proposal goes into place.
Great. Such good practical advice.
Yes, and helpful information indeed. Ted Jenkin, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ted.
Thanks for having me on.
Coming up this morning, Black